This is the Bar Steward's Enquiry.
You're talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
And that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I didn't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that...
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
And a big welcome to the Bar Steward's Enquiry Sunday Sermon Special, Flat Season Special, where myself, Lee Keys, systembet.co.uk, and my partner in crime, John Lang of John Joe's Blogspot, will be going through our best horses to follow for the 2021 flat season. This is an episode I hope you'll enjoy, get plenty out of. Before we start with our selections, which we're going to give out the 5 best to follow each of us for the remainder of the season, and we're also going to give our Guineas, Derby, and Oaks fancies also. So plenty to look forward to. We're going to kick the show off with some ranting and some questions. Obviously, it's been an interesting weekend with the flat season start and the Dubai World Cup. John, any good this weekend? Any good things to shout about?
Well, one or two things to shout about, but not particularly good. I seem to have got a nap on a complete jade in the apprentice race yesterday at Doncaster. You could have emptied your knickers on it, really, couldn't you, if it long out? I mean, it was just going to ponce up and didn't, which was something of a shame at the prices, but there you go, these things happen in life.
The thing was, John, right, you the reason why I complimented it as well as a good bet, because you dug it, the logic was sound, you dug it out, it was, you got your knife and fork at the table, the steak arrived. It was just disappointing.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
they
coming
didn't bring the shaft, did they?
That's it. There's no peppercorn sauce in the closing stage.
Yeah.
So, but I thought it was an excellent bet. Just a shame we couldn't. Give listeners a big heave-o on the opening day there of the flat season.
If the ads out, it might have stuck its snout in front.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was the proverbial dead inside in the closing stages. It was like the hull of the Black Pearl, weren't it? Like Pirates of the Caribbean. It was rusty inside.
It was rotting corpses sat at the dining table. That was it.
Yeah, but what a selection! Yeah, what did you make to the Brocklesby?
I thought them that pulled clear were probably all right. Overall, I thought it was quite a disappointing fail physically. Overall, maybe the front 4 you could look at, but the likes of Walford's Arse and that, I don't think there'll be much more to come from that. I think that's run to about 28. So I think I'll be opposing the Brocklesby in the main.
I think though, do you not agree that probably the first 3 home look all right for early season type?
Right, yeah, but normally you can say, well, there's 3
you could be looking
that's going to come on a bundle, and I just didn't see it in them physically. I thought, well, really, some absolute munters there, really.
Yeah. Right. So anyway, we've got some questions to discuss, and Ian Davis, who's an ardent follower on our Facebook page, I think, he says that he wants to put up something really uninteresting to follow this season, in the shape of Battleground, John. And you were critical, I believe, of Jason Weaver the other day on ITV Racing.
Absolutely stealing a living. I couldn't believe it. Chamberlain asked him on that Skelton Morning show, and Chamberlain says to him, "Give us one from the dark side, Jason. You know, straight out of Harry Belafonte's backside, so dark we want this." And he said, "Oh, Battleground." Well, after I think it up and saying what it was, you know. I mean,
I think that's it, really. I think you picked up on the point that, like you say, Ollie Bell had asked him for something out of the box. You know, have you got anything interesting? You know, other than the first 2 or 3 in the betting, and he said, "Oh, Battleground."
Yeah, I mean, that way. What a chance, poor lady. You know, I mean, come on.
Well, Ian, we'll get to the discussion points on Battleground in our Guinness selections and Guinness preview later in the show. But yeah, obviously you've picked the Guinness favourite there.
I mean, my granny died in '82. She knows about Battleground.
Ian Sears has got one for us to follow. He's another avid listener of the show. Good man is Ian. I like Ian. Glide Down of Alan Kings, he says, is one should be winning handicaps this year. Should have won on his last run as a 2-year-old and did well on seasonal debut at Lingfield. I did watch the run at Lingfield. It has got the only thing for me is it has got a predominantly all-weather pedigree, and I'd be a bit worried if they start trying to win with it, you know, at Sandown on good to soft, you know.
We can sure Alan King will.
You know, probably Esher Cup Day or something, you know.
Yeah.
Nice. So, but I would say if you're backing Glide Down, Ian, I would want it sticking to the all weather on the pedigree I'm looking at anyway. Right, so that was a couple of followers from our listeners, so don't back them at all. So we move on to a couple of questions. Nick Davis, another avid listener of our show. I mean, he caused the massive drift on Acquitted on Saturday after he'd gone in and placed his business at 6-1. The horse proceeded to drift badly, and I think that was the layers seeing that Davis had got in on Acquitted. Strong, John.
I think he placed his business in the sink in the gents rather than the trap one myself. I think that's what caused the kerfuffle there myself. He's on that senior citizens rail card now, and I don't think he's getting between the shops as quick as he might. He's going in there busting.
Well, I just think Davis will also be slightly upset backing one at 6-1. I mean, it's far too short for him. I mean, you know, 6-1, and it has to be a penalty kick for Davis to be taking sixes.
Oh, I know, yeah, and then to go odds on in the run as well, you know.
I mean, do we think Acquitted? Right, this is the big question for the coming season. Any listeners get involved on Twitter? Give us your opinion. Was Acquitted soft in the finish, or was it left short? As in the big drift, you know, massive. I expected it to go off 7-2. Well bet, Fav. It went off. You could help yourself to as much 10 and 11 on machine, literally in the run up to the race, and yet the horse took it up in the final furlong. You thought we're all getting paid. There is a God, and then it was. You know.
I think what's happened there, you know, I think everything's gone right with this horse's preparation until just before the last 2 pieces of work. And then Posh Yogo's realises he hasn't counted the 750 squillion he's got in the cellar, and he's had to spend the best part of a week counting all that up. And he's missed the work with the horse, I'm afraid.
But that's the question, I think, for this season. Acquitted is going to be you can bet your life he's going to be in the top handicaps this summer, dominating flat season, top of the market betting.
Well, win a Vicky Cup with a quieter head, won't it?
Yeah. Now, like I said, is he soft? Does he look around when he gets to the front? These are questions I think that will be answered. But anyway, back to Nick Davis's question. Good listener of the show is Nick. Good punter. West Ham fan, which is a shame. Why are the big handicaps so compressed these days? Hardly with no more than £10 in them, and last year's Silver Workingham had £3 between them. Time for more open handicaps, John, he says. What do you think?
I think he's probably right. There's a lot of horses within a very narrow weight range now, isn't there? You go back to when you could just back the highest weighted 3-year-old in the Aber. Now you're doing well if you're a 3-year-old in the Aber.
Yeah.
None of it's really to the benefit of the punter. You're getting very tight markets that, nobody can keep anything up the sleeve, can they? Because if you do, you can't get in. So, they've got to show all the cards. And then it really comes out best ride on the day, doesn't it?
Do you think as well that the handicapping system's the problem? Possibly a bit like national hunt racing, where we seem to want to rate horses highly. As in, I'll give you an example. You could win an absolute shit tip of a race at Kempton that's full of scrap, say a Class 4, a 0 to 85, exposed horses, win it by 4.5, pulling away because they're all crap, and then he puts you up 11.
Oh, they love to put them up. Yeah,
and then you're 96. And what I always find with horses in the 90s, more than any other horse for me, they don't drop them quick enough.
No.
So you get your £11 from 85 to 96.
Yeah.
When everyone in betting public knows you're not 96, it's just that you've won an absolutely terrible heat.
It'll take you till you get that 11 off.
Yeah, you then try get that 11 off when you rated that, unless you're getting them tailed off at Wolves and getting them when they get them down into 60s for gambles.
No, you'd have to have screens around them twice, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. I just think I'm not saying handicapping's an easy game, and that's why I reckon we've got. I mean, how many horses in the 90s, say older aged horses, can genuinely run to their marks? I bet it's not 50% of them.
I reckon it isn't, because to me, there's so many races that won by horses that haven't even hit the marks. I had to hit the marks to do it.
It's different, isn't it? You watch handicaps at the bottom level, 60s, 70s horses that obviously are well above the grades and win easily and stuff like that. But then you get to 0 to 95 level, and when you're analysing a handicap, which I know Nick specialises in good Saturday handicaps, and you're literally looking for run of the race. Really, you're looking for the right draw, like you said with King Ottercar. You didn't like the draw in the Lincoln.
No.
And that becomes, when you get to that level, everything becomes so crucial. The draw, everything's got to be spot on for you to win. So, so Nick, my answer to your question would be, I believe that the handicapper leaves too many horses on a high perch for too long. I think they're very scared. If a horse bolts up in a bad race in the mid 80s, like John pointed out, you'd be a year, 18 months trying to get back down to that level again. That's where I think same with national hunt racing. I think that's where we've got the problem. You can go up like a stone and a half for winning a bad race up north, and like Port Lakeview lad, I think, or 162. I mean, good luck winning off that.
You may as well just phone the taxi down straight away, mightn't you?
Absolutely, especially at that age. Poor old boy. But I think that's it really. When you've got a handicapping system like that, where you're quick to put them up but not quick to drop them, I think that's where you end up with too many horses that and it spoils the race, because all you get is like, say if you've got a 0 to 105 or a 0 to 100, you might have the top weight rated 100, and then your bottom weight sort of 93, 94, there might be a really progressive horse off 88, 89 that just, it's frustrating. They end up being boring races because they're all exposed sort of mints at that level, if you like. But good question, Nick. I like that. Next question was from Carl Swanson, who is a regular on Twitter, and he says, if you're an in-running punter, how bad were the pictures from Doncaster yesterday? Did you see it, John?
I did actually send them a twice yesterday afternoon.
Were there any F's and Jeffs?
Yes, I think it was what the F are you doing, you effing blithering idiots. Because that was awful. The was the listed race, wasn't it, the mile one?
Yeah.
And as soon as something went half a length clear, they zoned in on that one. And that was like the end, that was the end of the coverage. Anybody punting on that would have been having apoplexy. Awful, awful, awful coverage, that, terrible. It's just some moke trying to get yourself an award. No thought for the viewers.
I pictured the camera. Can I say it? Camera person yesterday, and I believed he must have been from sort of like metropolitan London, where he's sort of been in his studio since he was 14, and done lots of like skillful sort of like filming on YouTube, and and look at this and experimental work, and he thought, and he's got a job with ITV, and he's just thought, let's try all this experimental shit. Well,
I thought that whoever it was, I thought they'd gone straight from the last series of Strictly, where they spent the time trying like how to get a shot of Bonnie Langford's tuppence when she does the splits.
Good old Bonnie's camel toe.
Unbelievable. But we did. I mean, we did get a nice close up of the leader's head, I believe, in the final furlong, in HD. If we get any closer to him, we'll be able to tell if the jockey's had a line before he's gone out.
Anyway, yeah. In seriousness, Carl, no good for somebody like myself who obviously plays in running and was rather perplexed at having to see a close up of three horses' heads for.
Well, you might as well watch it on CFAX.
Like the old days when you used to, when it used to flash up the result, yeah. But then there was nothing filled in, and then you were just waiting, you were just thinking, please God, this has to win. Yeah, good old CFAX. Yeah. So anyway, no good at all there. Those experimental pictures. Lorne Malvo has put a question, and he says, and I thought this is one for you, John. Really, you could answer this perfectly. Do you think that Thady, the
real Flynn Thady
Gosden doesn't get enough credit? He has proved that hard work, a history of an art degree, and being the son of a hugely successful racehorse trainer is all you need to succeed. There's a lesson here for all of us. Do you agree, John?
This reminds me of a little incident a few years ago at York. And I was stood on the steps of the county stand, and William Huntingdon had just had a winner there. And there's these two old wags stood in front of me. And one turns to the other and he said, Lord Huntingdon. He said, who the hell's that? And his mate said, well, I don't know, he said, but he's a bloody sight better than that idiot Hastings bastard he's took over from.
For some of our listeners that don't know, Willie Hastings Bass did get the title Lord Huntingdon. So just in case some of our younger listeners don't understand the poignancy of John's point there. Yeah, awesome, John. That awesome.
Unbelievable. If you are the son of a multimillionaire racehorse trainer and you've done the rounds of all the other decent yards on the planet, I think you have a reasonable chance of making a decent fist of things.
Good old Thady and John. Let's wish them. Well, let's wish them well.
Well, he seems as though he's improved the outfit enormously already, doesn't he? Because I think I don't think they've ever won this much money at the stage of the season before.
Absolutely. There you go.
Yeah.
Proof's in the pudding.
He's made a measurable difference.
And the syringes, but the proof's in the pudding. Right, that's the questions from our listeners for this week. So I will finish the sermon part of this show off. Obviously, we're now getting to the nitty-gritty of you getting to know some of the best bets for this flat season going forward, which is exciting. You must be excited by now. And if you're not, well, I'll whet your appetite here with one. We do a column called the Jimmy Lindley Lovely Hands. And basically this is telling you horses that haven't been placed to best advantage in their races. Now, I watched a race this week and I literally fell out of the chair. I can't. It's in 25 years of betting, I have not seen a ride as ridiculous, and I'll say it, and as bent as this one. It was a horse called Blueberg. It was trained by the Welsh Mafia, Evan Williams, at Southwell, ridden by his daughter, Isabel Williams. And she came there at the second last, travelling like the wrath of God, nearly still in front or nearly in front. Just stopped. That was it. And the stewards did have her in. They actually said, "Oh, Isabel, this ain't cricket." But they accepted her explanation that she achieved the best possible placing she could. And I urge anyone worth the salt in racing to watch that race and tell me that it was incredible. I ain't seen anything like that and get away with it. Nothing. So Bluebird, give it a watch, listeners. You'll enjoy that one. That is one of the funniest I think I've ever seen. I've never seen anything like it. So there you go. Right, we move on. We go to myself and John's followers for this season's flat, and we've each picked out 5, and John has got some good ones. I've got some good ones, and we'll give our 5 to follow for this coming flat season in turn. John will start off with our 5th best, and then and alternately, and then we'll get to the best one, and then we'll go to the classics previews after the followers.
Yeah.
So, John, I will let you go first with your 5th best follower for this flat season.
Right, I'm making this one the 5th best because chances are Haley Turner might be cropping up on its back as it goes to hand, so we will have that £5 penalty to overcome. This one's a horse called True Courage of Michael Bell's. You give it 2 spins in just over a month to get this one handicapped. Made its handicap debut where, despite it not being terribly fancied, I thought was hugely significant. He went in to report to the stewards it didn't like the ground.
Yeah.
And then he's took it home, got the house bricks straight out, knackers off, and this one will be found in races over 10 furlongs plus this season, I would imagine. Interesting.
So basically, it's by Le Havre out of an Oasis Dream Damsire. I do like your trip angles here. I mean, looking at the family, there's a lot of stamina in this pedigree. So you're doing well here. I like the dig out there. It's ran to a 65 racing post on its debut. And
I think it's shown plenty, it's a horse, once the trip sorted out and everything, and now the knackers are off, we should say it's looking like that more of a horse.
It's a typical Bell plot. He's done this before. We've had some good wages out of following Michael Bell with his stepping up handicappers at 3. So I'm loving your angle here. Like you say, 65's very, very workable on debut. So that's true courage for John. That's his 5th best follower of this flat season. Unlucky for us, though. We might have Ailey Turner on it, and then we've got,
Yeah. Reduce stakes accordingly.
But you can't have it always. I mean, do you know what's weird though, John? Right, and I've always said this. Every single time we seem to come up in the past with like real good handicap plot jobs.
Yeah.
How many times do we get an absolute bin man riding it?
Yeah. I mean,
you think, oh God, oh no, not him.
I've given up on Baldwin because whatever happens, I mean, if you're looking for him in handicap, I mean, he's you'll find he's putting up the grandson of somebody who was apprenticed to his dad 35 years ago, claiming 10. And that's in big races.
Yeah.
He seems intent on proving he can do the job with one hand tied behind his back. And he can't really do it that well with both hands free. So.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not being sexist or anything because Ollie Doyle's my favourite jockey, but Ailey Turner's not, and it's just every time you think, oh no. Again, everything's set. It's the right race. It's the right trip. You've right draw. You've got a nice pace set up, and you think, well, what can go wrong here? And then you see
jockeys are declared.
But that's a good selection. I like that. That's got some mileage, and I would say pound for pound that's better than my 5th best selection. So I'm going to give it you now, and it's a horse trained by one of your favourite Irish trainers.
Oh, not Jim.
Nasty Jim. Yeah, Nasty Jim. Yeah.
And I can't back this, even though I don't know what it is.
I know. Everyone sort of cheers for him to get beat. I mean, Jim's a total bastard, isn't he? I mean, let's be right. But so yeah, I mean, anyway, so this horse is called Snapchap, and it's trained by Jim Bolger, and on debut, it was very, very eye catching, under a £7 apprentice, sort of. Made nice little late headway, was really impressed with it. Then it ran in a very hot maiden at the Curragh, where it finished 9th of 18 behind the 1,000 Guineas favourite and Oaks favourite, Santa Barbara. It finished in 9th place, but that doesn't tell the story because it missed the break quite markedly, and it ended up last with about 4 to run. And old man Kevin Manning, who's 78 now, he really is doing well for 78, and he just his bones were creaking sort of 2 or 3 out, and he managed to get this horse under very minimal pressure into about 9th. Not beaten as far as you'd have thought that he would be from sort of 4 out. So there's plenty of ability there. And he's good enough to win his maiden, and that's where I'm coming from. That it's not real. I don't think it's a handicapping project. It might be, but I think he can turn up in a maiden as long as he's steering clear from the lads.
Yeah,
like one of these sort of fairy house maidens that maybe the lads send the scrap to or whatever. This is the one that I'd want to be with, and have a really good bet on, and say, come on, Jim. Do the business, and I think a Miles's trip. I don't think he's physically he's all there, John. He's a lovely physical type. He's one of them that has to improve just purely on the amount of flesh that's So that's the reason I picked him, because I feel he has to move forward from his debut, which according to the Racing Post ran to around 77. I'd put him, in the mid-80s kind of category, which wins these sort of gaff track maidens in Ireland, no problem. And, that's what we want. We want a winner. And Snapchat, I think, is a real good 3-year-old to follow for us.
I think about Jim's horses as well. Rather than moving forward physically, they don't move forward on what's in their heads, because he does have an awful lot of set-looking types as 2-year-olds. I think that's because he likes to get stuck into them, doesn't he?
I mean, Jim's breeding from like your vocalised, and I'm not really a massive fan, but one of the siblings, one of the half brothers here, is Intense Style that was a decent over 6 furlongs and got to 3 figures. So at least there's something in the pedigree to say that the mare's producing at least a horse that can win races. So Snapchat was I thought was interesting. That was but I don't think that matches your Bell choice, to be honest. I have to be honest with listeners, and I think your 5th choice is rather good. Right, what's your 4th choice, John?
Well, I'm sure you won't be as impressed with this one. This is for the lovely Sir Mark Prescott, BT, and this is also called Polar Ice. And it's another one where he took just over a fortnight to get his mark, really. And then he's put it away. He'll probably get it on the good trade for a month, ready to go by end of May to run up a sequence, I would have thought. It's the last run, I think, at Chelmsford. No, it was the last run at Southall. Either way, it turned up at Chelmsford there, the last run, the one before, utterly unsuited to it, I mean. It was like trying to take a tank to a domino tippling contest, in all fairness. Big, raw, angular-looking bastard it is. Needs a flat galloping track. Probably 1.5 miles, and just needs some work cramming into it. Would be ready to go now. It took him a while to find an owner for it. I noticed that it was running in his own colours for 3 runs. But he's managed to get one of his old comrades in arms to take a controlling interest in it anyway. And no doubt will be laughing like Larry after it's 1, 3 and 4, and they'll be going to a bullfight together or something.
You know what? I mean, it is laughable in a way. I mean, right? So you've got a horse here, Sir Mark Prescott. It's a gelding by Dan Silly. It's a half brother to Ice Sprite that's already run into nearly 3 figures.
Yeah.
It's basically. I'm not saying the pedigree's just like amazing, as in Group 1 or it's littered with superstars, but we're talking good tackle, and we're also this costs 120,000 as a yearling. They've got it off 59 come racing. Like you said, this could be one of these Prescott. Like it wins 6 on the Rodneys.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of them, isn't it? It's Channel 4 trophy, I mean, Thrasher Morris. I mean, he's definitely not thrashed it. I don't think on these occasions anyway.
Well, he forgot where his ass was. He kept missing
Yeah.
it.
Polar Ice. Good follow with that, John. I like that. Again, it's a good 2 you've come up with. I think you're beating me tonight.
We'll see.
I kind of.
A better idea than all the score.
I reckon, sir. I mean, I mean, they are 2 quite shrewd selections in that. If they don't win races off their marks, I'll be astonished. So that's a good start from you, now. Right, okay. My 4th choice is, I suppose, the difference. Well, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to come up with 5 horses, if you like, that are a little bit out of the box, as in I'm not trying to be obvious with these. I'm trying to come up with sort of like lesser trainers, because I know what it's like. If we come on this show tipping up Roger Varian's 3 plot jobs with 500,000 guinea yearling, and it's off 62.
Exactly. Yeah.
We get him 5 to 4 because everyone's like, it's just everyone's backed it night before. Newmarket are bouncing about it because they've got it well handicapped, and that was sort of the problem I had last year with some of my followers. I was probably picking too bigger yards, and where all Billy Bunters are, and then you're left staring at 11:08. Oh geez. So what I did, I've kind of gone for a little bit under the radar with sort of 4 of them anyway, out of 5. And this is probably another one that's under the radar. And again, to our Irish listeners, another Emerald Isle one for you, this one. And this will be, I think she's going to be a nice little handicapper that'll pay away this season. A horse called Sea Sessions, trained by Ross O'Sullivan. She's by Territories out of a Dale Army mare. And she's shaped incredibly well, I've thought, on each of her 3 starts. She's they finally up to a mile on a final outing, and she really did catch my eye. Just she had a couple of little cracks, and she really picked up for the cracks, which I liked. And she put distance between herself and the rest of the pack to finish 3rd, and it didn't impact her handicap mark to any degree either. So the handicapper has given her 65, which on what I'm thinking, when she gets sort of 12 furlongs, I mean maybe a mile and a quarter even, but I'd like D-Day to be 12 furlongs, and I'm certain she runs to sort of £10 above that. I'm certain she can be 75, and that, as we know, that might not be good enough to win some handicaps if they're quite warm, but she's a filly that I think I like her. She's got the right attitude, and once she gets the right distance of ground, I think she's going to be a real nice handicapper for connections. Maybe 1 win, maybe 2 wins. So again, I wouldn't be going special in terms of this has got absolute buckets, but it's a filly that I know will win given a mile and a half handicap in the summer. I'd expect it to be out this summer, and on the better ground, I'd expect it to be running really well. So that's Sea Sessions. Ross O'Sullivan's runners tend to need a run, so I wouldn't be backing a first outing back. I reckon they might just have a little spin and a roll up, and then you might want to be keeping her in your trackers then after you've watched her on the reappearance. So that's Sea Sessions for me, trained by Ross O'Sullivan. In Ireland, and I expect her to be winning middle distance handicaps next summer. John, your 3rd on the list, please.
My 3rd one is a horse called Dickens that is trained by Alan King. Now, this one, again, is similar type to the other 2 in all fairness. Potential middle distance handicapper. Way too keen after being walked out the stalls all 3 starts last season, and has since been gelded. One of the things I liked about this horse on his first 2 starts, despite the fact he was keen and emptying out, was the fact that when he was still nudged along, he put his head down and did try, even though he was getting empty. And physically, I like him a lot. I think he's a nicer type than the other 2 I've mentioned. His handicap debut was pretty depressing, but they've knocked him down £2 for it. It's a good start physically, and as I say, if the gelding up settles him down, I think he could be quite a useful handicapper. I think you may be looking Melrosey type by August.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the pedigree, you'd certainly expect a lot of improvement up in trip. You've basically got Sasiko in there. You've got it just looks a complete mile and a half pedigree. I do love Mark of Esteems on the dam side. Mark of Esteems has been a very, very influential sire and dam sire. Obviously perished in 2014, which was very sad. So we don't get much of him as a sire these days, but we do get him as a dam sire. And he makes it, put it this way, I do a lot of systematic approaches on pedigrees, and Mark of Esteems are really, really solid on the dam line. So I do like the fact that Mark of Esteem is on the dam line.
Have you looked at this one on video, like?
I've not looked at him on video.
It's a lovely stamp of that.
Yeah. I mean, I've probably missed him, to be honest, because I've watched literally most 2-year-old races last year now, and I've probably just not picked him up. I mean, that happens. But as I said, everything points to him being better at 3, and everything.
That was the best thing about him. The fact you knew he was doing so much. You knew he was going to empty out.
Yeah.
But rather than Ed coming up and him saying, "Oh, I'm finished, Dad," Ed stayed down and he was trying.
Interesting that he was quite cheap through the foals and yearlings markets, and then so we're only going to last year. He made 140,000 at the breeze ups.
Yeah.
And I know you can watch the breeze ups online, including the past sales, and I haven't had a chance to do so. But the fact that he's made 140,000 suggests that he probably breezed lovely.
Oh, the CD in the car on the way home, was that like the way you move?
Yeah. So that's another good follower from John. Absolutely love your 3 so far, John. Dickens, that's John's number 3, and and John thinks that this could be a type for sort of middle distance stroke, even Melrose kind of distances as the season progresses, and obviously owned by the McNeils. So yeah, absolutely solid that, John. Good stuff. Right, so we go on to my third one, and I'd say this is the most obvious one I'm going to give listeners.
Please.
I make no apologies because I was rather sweary and very abusive after it got beat on its last run last season. It's the Willie Haggis trained Titian, and I had one of my biggest bets last season on it to win the nursery at Doncaster, where it finished 3rd to Heights of Abraham. And I was rather sweary because I think I was having a bad run as well at the time, or things weren't going well. And it's when things don't go well, like you get that slow pace. All I needed was just an average gallop, just something normal, and they just absolutely crawled. And I was like banging my head again. So I thought, how can you just go this pace? And this horse basically, Tom Marquand had got it right held up at the back, and it made ground late. It couldn't peg them back. I was like furious. I'm like, geez, that's another one that's got away. It should have won. Just a normal run of the race. And I was sick. And Titian's got a Derby entry. And this is the thing. Michael Buckley doesn't mess around. If they're no good these days, Michael Buckley tends to sell, and that's it, because he can't be bothered. If he's got anything decent, he's a selling sort of owner. With this, I think this improves probably at least, and I'll say this, at least a stone up in trip. Once we start going 10, 12 furlongs with Titian in the summer. For example, the pedigree is pretty impressive. The very closely related to Lawman. There's a Group 2 winner there in the sort of catalogue, and I just think once this goes 10 and 12, I think we've got something quite exciting, and I think we get to 3 figures. Well, he's got a handicap mark of 85. It's too low. And I can't wait for him. I hope Willie does us a favour, and he doesn't do anything daft like running a listed or group contest. I hope he lets us try and win a nice handicap, and have a good bet, because that's where I'd like to see him. So Titian, he's a strong one for me. Oh, and by the way, he can't run in the Derby anyway, because silly me, I've not noticed it's gelded. So there you go. He ain't running in the Derby. But they've got the Derby entry, which they obviously held it in decent regard. So Titian is my third follower for Willie Haggis, and that's my biggest yard that I've tipped, really, because I just think, well, I'm trying to give smaller trainers a chance to show their skills on my followers list. So. But Willie Haggis as Titian is my third best. John, your second best choice.
Right, this is. I'm not saying this is the best start. I think this is the most interesting, really. The one that's the most interesting in my head, anyway. This art's called Beowulf, trained by Ed Walker. And basically, we've had 3 knocked off second gelded. Starts handicaps off 56, which is really workable. You're going to want at least a mile to show his best.
Yeah.
The key to this is this horse just does not want a bar of soft turf. It's got tremendously light action. It's related to an all-weather winner, and I think, given a competitive ride, it probably might even be best on that sort of supportive surface, because it's a little bit fragile looking how it moves, you know. It gives me the impression that if it hit a stride wrong, it could go wrong type thing, you know. But I think on a consistent surface, I think there's an awful lot more to come from this. And if he's careful with it, I could see going up £30 over the course of the season. I think there's a lot of latent talent there that we ain't seen yet, you know.
Rated just 56, John.
Yeah, so I think if he's careful with it, I think we could find £30.
Interesting. A lot. What are you saying about the? Are you saying it doesn't want an extreme of surface, as in?
I think if it was consistently not watered, it'd be fine. But what you find is they'll swap worse on bends and make it different to what it is in the straight. And
yeah,
I think you'd have more confidence if you was running it on the all weather.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because the dam side is the way you are, and that's a very heavy influence for all weather.
Mm.
So I think that's what you should make it. You should make it your Bar Stewards number 2 all weather big bet. You know, when it's D-Day. Yeah. I mean, Ed's quite tricky because what he can do, right? So obviously it last ran on the 11th of November. Ed can leave them quite short. Yeah. So I've known Ed to have spins before. I believe it, yeah. So it's one of them, really. It's a tricky one with Ed. If he's got it tuned up, then yeah, you'd be all over it off 56. But if he sort of just left it a bit slack, you know, he might just be having a sighter for D-Day. That's.
The hint could be the application of loads of the owner's cash.
Loads of cash.
Prior to the race.
Plenty of cash, yes.
And possibly the application of the good old cheap pieces that do absolutely nothing.
By the way, Fran Berry was great yesterday. Did you hear Fran Berry on racing?
No, I didn't. No.
He was brilliant. It was the Emmett Mullins one that had obviously had the juice, and it was back from 20s into 6s, and paced up, and Fran was doing the race review.
Yeah.
Instead of George Baker style of oh, what a lovely ride, and Fran just said, well, in a nutshell, it's just improved for the application of cash. I loved it. I mean, it's just straight-laced. That's it.
Yeah, correct.
Very refreshing punditry there, Fran Berry. So anyway, Beowulf is John's number 2. And again, it's a very good choice. John's picking some really shrewd trainers. He's beating me at the moment. I like his more than mine. But yeah, it's good. It's good for listeners, because I'm certain all mine will win as well. So I mean, if we do 10 winners between us, we've done fantastic. Right, my number 2 is again from a lesser yard that probably could do with a bit of good news after Sam Spinner bowed out this year for Jed O'Keefe, and I've picked one of Jed's runners who hasn't had the best of seasons. Let's be right in recent times, but he's got a horse here that's very interesting. It's called Rainbow's Gift. And obviously, I first noticed it when it ran behind Titian, who was my number 3 follower. Newcastle over the mile. It finished fourth. Very interesting late headway. Just under hands and heels, not pushed hard. Was staying on quite nicely. And when you look at this horse, it's certainly got the pedigree to shine over middle distance. It's by Nathaniel, and in the family, you've basically got a bit of stamina there. You've got Kaleidoscopic that won for Mick Windmill over a mile and a quarter, and this horse obviously by Nathaniel, which is very stout sire, obviously. I think over 10 and 12 furlongs next season is going to come into his own. He's only been given 62. Now that's ridiculous because 62 does not reflect his ability. I can assure you. I've got this horse running to probably 75 plus. I think it'd be a nice handicapper for Jed. They've not knocked it about. They've not like asked it questions that it can't answer. And it's shaped ever so well. And I think probably Jed was a bit scared on third run because after the second run at a mile, he dropped it back to 7, as if to say, well, we don't want another £10 on the mark by keeping it a mile. So I think that's basically what he did. He made sure that he didn't get any more than what he showed on his second run, which was behind Titian, and that gave him 62. Well, I'm telling you now that this gelding will, for me, get to 75 over a mile and a quarter, middle distances. And I do think he's one to follow in small northern handicaps, staying trips. Again, you'll get a nice price. It's not, again, when I tried to stay away from the sort of big yards on purpose, just to give folks a chance, in the morning, the night before, where everyone's not just punting them stupid before you can get a bet on. So I thought Jed O'Keefe was under the radar here.
Definitely.
And I felt, this will reward punters this summer over middle distances. So Rainbow's Gift for me is my number 2. John, your number 1. This is it. This is the big one. This is where everyone gets their tackle out.
Well, I think this is a horse that, at very worst, would be a Britannia type. Well, I'm hoping for a little bit better from this. I think it's a nice dark horse, and that's Chicago Blackhawk of Johnny Merters.
Ooh, like the trainer.
Yeah. Now it acts on soft, but I think you'll see a much better horse on decent ground this year. It's by sire at the moment, Night of Thunder.
The sire of sires.
Yeah. I think last year it was very much not the finished article physically. He got the structure, but he hadn't filled it out at all, Yeah. And I think once this horse fills out, it'll be proper useful. It's a fairly early fall. It was a February fall, so I think that it'll come to hand fairly quickly this year, providing it hasn't wintered too well. You go back through its form, its debut was 4.5 lengths behind our definition. More about which later. And then stepped up to finish third in a big field of maidens at the Curragh to Van Gogh. Again, not particularly knocked about, not in any kind of shape to be showing his best, I didn't think. And I think one of the most interesting things about this is the only one Johnny Merters left in the Irish Guineas.
Interesting.
Despite him failing to win as a 2-year-old, which I think is a tip in itself, because it ties in very much with what my notes on the horse say, that we haven't seen anything like its best efforts yet.
Yeah.
And I think there's an awful lot more to come from this. So that's me best in Chicago Blackhawk.
Well, I mean, again, another cracking selection. And I'm not just blowing smoke up your arse. I mean, literally, if you look at, obviously Van Gogh won that maiden, it was third in, and obviously Van Gogh went on to win the Grand Criterium at Saint Cloud. Van Gogh's also ran behind One Ruler, Cadillac, and like you said, if you're impressed with this physically, as in a lot to come, you could have a really nice horse here. And I mean, it might not be, I mean, looking at pedigree, you'd say it'd need further. I mean, everything points to. But again, this is how you do it. You don't just run over your horses over the optimum trip to start with. You let them build up. But I'd certainly think a mile and a quarter would be probably optimum, John.
Yeah, I mean, you can run really well in an Irish Guineas and then go for something like a Teddy 7 at Prescott, can't you? Yeah. Voltigate, and who knows where you might end up after that.
Great pick. I do love the trainer, Johnny. He had some well handicapped horses last summer that I was following. I mean, not that I'd noticed straight away, but I'd looked at him and thought, Christ, you've got this one well in. And he did very well last summer, I felt, with sort of well-bred horses and got them off the right marks. This one, to me, I don't think they'll be thinking handicaps. I mean, I'm thinking this will be a maiden win and probably going into pattern races or that kind. I think this will progress, like you say. Great choice. So that's John's number one, Chicago Blackhawk. 5 fantastic horses to follow for you this season from John, I feel. That certainly impressed me. So, like I said, everyone should be marking those down in their trackers without fail. My number one, again, it's from an unfashionable yard, but not, well, you say unfashionable. It was probably unfashionable until last season when Tim Easterby had one of his better years, John. And he's proved the point that you always liked his father.
Yeah.
Peter Easterby. And they always say apples don't fall far from the tree, and obviously Tim for me is getting better and better as a trainer.
I think he's terrific. Yeah.
He's training now for King Power, and he's getting a chance with some proper horses. But there is one of Tim's that is my top follower for the season, and I'm going to make some bold claims because no one likes an after timer. So I'll tell you what I think what this horse will get to. It's a horse called Eclipse De Luna. It's a 3-year-old gelding by See the Moon. And Tim ran this at York on debut. Typical Tim. 100 to 1 on debut. Fat as butter. Absolutely. I couldn't believe how, the amount of condition he got on it. And it finished second. And I reckon that would have even surprised Tim's probably thinking, well, if we finish 7th or 8th, 6, 7 lengths off a York maiden winner, we'll take that. Well, this finished second, and I couldn't believe it finished second. I was like flabbergasted. So then they roll up at Ayr next time, still carrying a bit as well. And it managed to beat a horse called Northern Express, and the third horse was Annandale, which ran today at Doncaster and nearly upset the Charlie Appleby horse Tambarada in the handicap over 10 there today off 78.
Yeah.
Well, he got Annandale well cooked. And I know Annandale was on debut that day, but, Eclipse De Luna was sort of from a similar position as Annandale, and Eclipse De Luna come home really strongly, did it well. And then I actually bet it at York on its final start last year, and you wouldn't believe the trip it had. It finished 6th. It couldn't get through. They all come to the stands rail as they do at York when the ground gets on the soft side. And the horse couldn't get through. It was Rachel Richardson. She just, not the best. And just couldn't get a run. And just sat there literally for the last 2 furlongs. And I just thought to myself, God, this horse is serious. This is a real good horse. And I genuinely believe this year, especially in Northern Saturday handicaps, where Tim will probably target it, I think this horse, mile and a quarter in the north, will be getting up into the mid-90s. And we've got a horse here off 76. He even dropped a pound for the last run at York. Unbelievable. Because it might have won with a quick run.
You went snake 4 wins out of this.
This is a nice horse for Tim. This will pay its way. It'll end up mid-90s, in my view. I think you're going to win probably 2 or 3 handicaps with this summer. And I'm very, very much looking forward to seeing this run. They've got a really nice horse on their hands. It wants to do it. It's got a good constitution. Heads down. Hopefully won't have Rachel Richardson on. Sorry, Rachel. And, we might have Thick Dave on, John.
Well, he's hoping, I mean...
The return of Thick Dave. It could,
One of the best aspects of the flat is the fact that Thick Dave's back.
Yeah.
Because never been known to stop one.
No. So, but I mean, one word of warning. It is my best follower, but Tim, as a rule, and this is going on Tim of the past, is he always likes a spin. He always likes a run back. He can leave them with plenty of condition on. It's just his style of training. He don't want them turning up like with nothing on them. And worked into the ground on the first run back. So I'd put a word of warning on the first run back with Tim's. I'd watch it for a run. I'd be surprised if this horse was maybe straight enough first time. Tim's style might be just He
likes his season still in progress in June, doesn't he?
Absolutely. This could be a one where it turns up at the mile at Ripon, buried out the back, sort of picking a few off late into 6th or 7th. And that's your typical Tim Easterby pipe opener. And so Eclipse De Luna is my best and my most confident one for you this flat season. 10 fabulous horses there from me and John. We've done the groundwork for you, so you don't have to. And hopefully we'll provide plenty of profit.
If you had a stable with them 10 in, you'd be happy, man.
Absolutely. So stick them 10 in your stable and you'll have a great flat season, I'm sure. Right, we're moving on now to the important classics of this year. Last year sent a bit of a damp squib because of the truncated calendar. It sent quite weird, so it's really nice to get back to traditional dates and times. And we're going to look at the classics in question, the 1,000 guineas, 2,000 guineas, the Derby and Oaks. So we'll start off, John, with the 2,000 guineas. What is your 2,000 guineas horse?
Well, the thing is, Ian, about the guineas, I'm at loggerheads with Harry Potter. I mean loggerheads. Harry did a stable tour last week where he expressed the opinion that High Definition wouldn't be going to the guineas because, please God, we got plenty for that anyway. Please God. And
spoke to the lads.
Yeah, so we had a word to that, and the lads don't want to go there. They want to go to the high side, please God. So, anyway, I think when High Definition gets into full work, I think this will get the juices flowing from Mr. Magnaire, and he will think he's got a Triple Crown horse. And I think this will end up going to the guineas, because I think there is so much more to come from this. I really do. I haven't been this impressed with one of his in a long, long time. I think this is a lovely, lovely horse. And if everything goes as I'm expecting it to, I think this will line up at Newmarket.
Would say, and I'm just being sort of devil's advocate here, because I know how much you like this, and to be honest, I do concur. But would it put you off if it's sort of like good to firm Newmarket, like for a guineas?
No, it does everything so easy. I wouldn't care. And honestly, they could run it up the road alongside the course. I wouldn't be bothered. I've seen nothing in his action that I'd be frightened of at all. You'd probably have the lads walking the course and all the rest of it, fishing and faffing. But I've seen no issues with this horse, even from a point of view of him being a potential stallion. I think it's a lovely stock that wouldn't be looking like raspberries that need soft ground. I just think he's got the lot, this, and I'm just hoping he comes into work soon enough and gets a chance to show what he can do there, because I do think he'll turn up then.
Great stuff, John. Interesting, Aidan O'Brien's last comments on the horse that I've read anyway. He actually said he was quite fancying just turning up straight for the Guineas next spring. Yeah. That was his last comment. But yet, 16-1's available. 16s.
Too big. Yeah, I know what he said. He said it to the At the Races website and all the rest of it. But, if I can't beat Battleground over a mile and they're both straight, I'll stand tapping. Yeah.
No, I mean, look, you've got great confidence for the horse, and I sort of share your views on it. Battleground for me, to please Ian Davis, there's a lot of good market vibes for it. Now, if people say, well, what's market vibes got to do with anything? Well, if you know the operation at Ballygoyle,
a lot with this crew.
it's well, I mean, the thing is though that they work, everything's done on the clock. They work them hard, and you can bet your life for Battleground to be this price and punted as well. It keeps getting punted. 11-2. In fact, 11-2's gone with Paddy Power yesterday. This must be working the house now, because it's just how I've seen it with Ballydoyle in the past. And Battleground last season, if you look at its bare form, it's not anything to get excited about. It's beaten a 7-furlong horse that's won a race in, was it Jebel Ali or Doha recently? The sales horse of Tom Dascombe's. That's not amazing form. The Chesham wouldn't be incredible form. The Keeneland run was desperately unlucky. It was caught wide. It was caught out of its ground. It was just, it ran.
He nearly won that, wouldn't he?
It'd have won with a trip. It would have won. It'd have won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf without a doubt. However, is that level of form? Forget the vibes. Forget the bollocks. Is that level of form good enough to win a Guineas? You probably say no. It's not form that says that horse should be favourite. Having said that, I think there's so many question marks, because the Dewhurst last year, St Mark's Basilica, Wembley, Thunder Moon for me is a July Cup horse. I think it's got such foot. And the turn of foot when it won at the Curragh last back end, and the way it travelled in the Dewhurst on soft ground, which wouldn't have been ideal. I think that one's top of the ground. Thunder.
You don't see him flying out the dip, do you?
No, I don't see Thunder Moon like getting Guineas fractions, which will be lung busting fractions in a Guineas. I don't see Thunder Moon getting the mile. No. I think Thunder Moon. And the other thing, if you're a Thunder Moon backer, or you're liking any of the Baby Josephs in dreadful form, absolutely dreadful form at the moment. The Baby Joseph. So I'd wait until you see a yard upturn before you can even support any of the Baby Josephs in any of the classics early season. Just going on what I've seen so far.
He just wait for an Melbourne Cup late now, didn't he?
I think so. But anyway, so yeah, that's where I think it's a very, very trappy affair. Battleground, I've made the case of why it's been back, blah blah blah, but has it got the form? The Dewhurst's a bit patchy. St Mark's Basilica, Wembley. There's about a length between them all. Like various runs last season at the Curragh, etc.
I'll give you one out the left side for the Guineas that might just go and win the Craven or something and come in a sharp price. It's also Roger Varian's called Royal Champion, once race maiden winner, big potential. By Shamadell, trips Airedale, course winner, no dip worries. I watched it come in and out of the dip, handled it lovely, put its maiden to bed in about 10 strides. Form's okay, physically should come on. I can say that making the lineup.
Good stuff. So John is very keen on high definition in his selection at 16s. He believes it'll run, and we should all fill our boots. It's a big price. I've got to admit. I don't know if that's worryingly big or whether it's as in that's just stupid value. As I said, that's as good as I can offer on the 2,000. John, we'll switch our interest to the fillies and the 1,000 guineas market. Santa Barbara has been very, very well supported today into, you can get threes, but that's all gone. 15-8 in some places.
I think some of this, I think the high definition situation and the Santa Barbara situation is really similar insofar as they're both showing a chronic overreaction to comments Harry Potter's made in Stable Towers.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the jockey likes the filly very much, and after he mentioned her in dispatches, I watched the race myself. I could not go anywhere near her at a current price. I thought there was a hint of a head carriage about her.
Agreed.
You could put it down to grainness, but you can't put it down to grainness when they're trading at this sort of price, this far off the race. Unless you're getting 16-1. You know. Yeah. There's got to be some compensation for what was a worrying head angle, you know, and there's no compensation in that price. And you know, I mean, if she wins on the day and you have to assume the position, drop your pants, and she goes in dry, well, hard luck, you know. I mean, you just take that one, don't you?
Yeah.
If I have to tell you you've missed out, well, what you missed out on, nothing.
Yeah, I totally agree. I watched the maiden and win, and you know, whilst you know she had that little bit of a nice little bit of a burst about 3-2 out, took it up like you said, funny head carriage, kept going to the line. Again, this money must just be purely on like how forward she is in homework. I would have thought.
Yeah.
You know, but as I said again, from a form level, to be one running a maiden to be taking these sort of prices, I think.
What did Harry Potter say? You can mistake her for a 5-year-old colt or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Given his track record of mixing houses up, he might have.
Looking at wrong one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the one I'm sticking up in the 1,000 guineas. I'm advising a bet. I'm advising a bet actually. It's the Richard Hannon trained Snow Lantern. 20-1 chance. I was so taken by the debut of this.
Hugely promising, wasn't it?
Ah, geez. I mean, it's given the winner, the Roger Varian filly, Zabeel Queen. It's given her 4 to 5 lengths of easy street, and you know, and nearly got to her really. And I just think Richard Hannon on debut also, you know, that a lot of them come on for it these days. It's not like the Richard Hannon of old where he had them sort of like rippling fit for Windsor and they'd be winning 7 lengths. It literally now the Hannon debutantes need it more often than not. I was so impressed with this. And then I stumbled on a blog of his, and he said a while ago, he said this is a very serious filly that he thinks will be better than the mother. Well, the mother's won 4 Group 1s, and he trained her. So he'd be in a very good position to know, given that he trained the mother, and he said he thinks this filly will be better. Well, all of a sudden, and by the way, he said that she'd be in at Christmas. Like, you know, so he'd start getting her ready from Christmas. So basically, plenty of time. And he's also said she'll go for a trial. So it's one of those, really. I could see whether she wins guineas or not is irrelevant for me. The thing is, it's 20-1. She's 20-1. I think she'll be pretty fit and pretty straight for a trial. I think she'll probably win a trial, whichever he picks, whether it's the Nell Gwyn or the Fred Darling. And I think she'll win it. And I think then that's when you'll see it into sort of 13-2, 6s, 7s. And that'd be my angle. So Snow Lantern for me of Richard Hannon. I really like her. I think whether she's Guineas class or not is irrelevant. She's going to win group races, I think, from what I can see. So it's one of them for me anyway. I'll be following her throughout this summer, and 20-1 I think is worth a stab.
Absolutely.
And back her in one of back her for a trial as well, because I will be.
The one I like, mate, is Love Is You, Roger Charlton's.
Absolutely, yes, John. Yes,
that's run twice and won twice.
Yes.
Obviously, a Dan Silly man. I don't think she's had a ground yet at all. She'll stay 1 mile, no problem. She won over a mile on debut. Nice sort physically. The mare's Strong Glorious Journey. There's a post rating of 116. Beat Monsoon Moon on debut, and that one went and won its maiden and was under consideration for the Fillies Mile. So
Monsoon Moon's going to be very useful this year.
Yeah. So I think that kind of has enough in the bank to say, well, should be on the premises in an ordinary sort of guineas. As I say, if we have a nice dry spell leading up to it, we could see an improved performance from that one.
Yeah, totally concur. If Rocket Roger has got a, well forward, I think 20-1's very big. I think again, she's got the form in the book. She's like I said, she won on debut. Despite needing it, looking green as well, and then went to Newbury in bad ground, and had the resolution and to slog it out and slog off a horse that had just finished second in a sales race, one of Carl Burke's, and she beat it easily. She no pressure, 3.5 lengths, comfortable. Yeah, I agree, John. I think at the prices, I'd much rather back Love Is You at 20s, Snow Lantern at 20s.
Absolutely, you can play both of them.
Than the Harry Potter, time machine.
Well, I can see both of them going off at less than 8 on the day.
Yeah, absolutely. If they've got them right, but I'm confident. Only reason I'm more confident on the Hannum one is because he actually said in his blog, he said that he'd have her in at Christmas.
He'll have her right, and she will go for the trial. Yeah, you know what I mean. So you're going to see some evidence, aren't you? Whereas Cat might go straight there and go 16s. That's feasible.
Yeah, So two good shouts there from me and John. We believe they're in the 1,000. We go now to the Derby, the one of John's favourite races in recent times. He loves an Aidan O'Brien win. Does John? Don't you?
Well, it's. The sad thing is now the peloton is going to prevail year on year, and there's nothing anybody can do with that apart from run 6 of their own, because he's got it sussed. He runs 2 on the front, 2 in the middle, and 2 at the back. And if you've only got 1 runner, you might as well wait for Prescott, in all honesty, because you got no chance. And that's the story of the Derby now. When he retires, he's going to have 20 of these on the board.
Yeah.
And good luck beating that.
It's like we discussed the other night. You've got this spot on in a way for a while. You want it first to pull it up regarding to, like you said, 2 at front, 2 at middle, 2 at back. And they're all between 110, 120 anyway. So, like you said, whichever gets the rub of the grass ends up winning. But your high definition here is a strong favourite for the Derby.
Yeah,
very 5-1 fab.
I think if there's going to be a year over the next 5 years where he doesn't make run 6, it'll be this.
Yeah, because
I think you might just shove a couple of pacemakers in for this just to make sure it's not stupid, and a nice midfield to rear sit and. As I say, just granted normal progression, I think this will pick them up for fun in the straight. I really do. I've seen nothing I'm terribly worried about.
Yeah, I can't knock your thoughts for high definition because I like the horse myself, but obviously you've got a feel for this horse, so I'm not going to tread on your toes much here. But one for listeners here, I thought a price would be Cleveland from the same stable, obviously sticking to the O'Brien mantra of that they'll probably both run in it.
So there's little point going anywhere else, isn't there? You know?
Yeah. And Cleveland for me was incredibly impressive at the Curragh. He was absolutely clueless on debut, totally clueless at Galway. He then went to the Curragh and absolutely bolted up. And we were sort of chatting about this the other day, off air, and we said that some of Aidan O'Brien's, they're not always like shining lights at 2. They're just slow burners. And this is the feeling I get with Cleveland, that I just think there's absolutely buckets to come. And it's one of these, it's not in his first string. I can't see it being like in his first thoughts. It could be one of these that turns up at like Chester or Lingfield at Derby Trial, but it's one of these that I just think it's going to get better and better and better and better and end up very, very useful. I might even be more of a Ledger sort of, it might even be more of a Ledger horse. I just think there's something in there, a real serious engine, and it could be a real strong stay of this. And like I say, it could be a Ledger type, but Cleveland would be my interest at 33s with Sky Bet if anyone fancied a dig for the Derby. Because let's be right, if it did turn up in one of these trials and did it nicely, then
it'll be crashing in, won't it?
You won't be getting 33s. So again, no. and as I said, with him putting it away straight away, he does hold it in high regard, and with him putting it straight away, I think he does think that this horse this season will be certainly winning group races and contesting at Group 1 level. So Cleveland for me, and obviously John is absolutely all over high definition, as you are well aware of by now. So fingers crossed that we get something right there. We go on to the Oaks. Obviously, Santa Barbara is the favourite. Well bet for the Guineas, well bet for the Oaks. This is the second coming, John.
Well, it can be the second going for all I care, can't I? I just cannot rustle up any enthusiasm to get involved with this at the price.
No, it must.
On what I've seen, anybody watching that and say it's going to handle Epsom. They're taking a right leap of faith, I think. And the one I'm keen on for the Oaks is Joan of Arc. Maiden winner, Dam's thrown 6 black tapers, including Glen Eagles. Heavily backed both steps. By Galileo, shorter 110 plus. Just a very interesting horse at this stage for me for the Oaks.
Again, remember we talked about like sort of slow burners.
Yeah,
we've just obviously finished talking about Cleveland, which is this is a similar profile to Cleveland in a way, that she come out on debut at Dundalk of all places, but was second to a real nice horse of Donica's called Hazel, which I've always thought will end up being a nice horse in time. Hasn't quite shown it yet, but. And she ran second to that, got beat narrowly, and then she come out and won a maiden real well. I thought.
Yeah.
She really showed it. We've got your sirens for John Nolan. No. We've done it. We've got the sirens, John. This is Latifah in the linen cupboard. That's what they're trying to find.
I'm probably moved this afternoon.
John Nolan, if you're listening, we've done it. We got the sirens. But yeah, Joan of Arc, I think, it literally is a slow burning type of filly, like you said, with a very, 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 very good set of connect. I mean, look at that. Glen Eagles, marvellous, happily. Taj Mahal, Vatican City, Coolmore. The worst that the dam's thrown up is 106, John.
It's better related than Sadie Gosden, isn't it?
I mean, this is just... I mean, what a mare. I mean, You're So Thrilling, the Dam has thrown up Glen Eagles. I mean, marvellous. Jesus, Taj Mahal. Can't believe it. What a family.
I know.
And now Joan of Arc for John in the Oaks. I like it, John. And I'm not going to supersede that. I'm not coming up with a selection for the Oaks. But what I am going to do is tell you a filly that, for me, will be probably Group 1. But I don't think she's an Oaks filly. It's the one we talked about that your 1,000 guineas beat at Ascot.
Yeah.
So it's Monsoon Moon, the one of John and Thady Gosden's. I mean, what an enormous filly she is. Huge. I mean, that's the worry, like soundness issues, because she's that big. And to me, she's just an absolutely class act. She's obviously related to Logician, and but I see her more as a Newbury type, as a Gosden bringing her out in May in a filly's 1.3 maiden. Sorry, not a maiden. Sorry, or a conditions race. That kind of track. I don't see this filly being asked to run around Epsom. I just can't.
Ribblesdale.
Yeah, probably like a Ribblesdale stroke filly.
Yeah.
I cannot see him risking her on a real downhill undulating track, given how big and heavy she is. I just think it's a no. So I would not be backing her for the Oaks, but
no.
I think she's a brilliant filly. The size of her, geez. And like I said, she Love to You that you've picked in the 1,000 beta.
That's what I'm saying, doesn't it?
Yeah, but again, it's all nice filly form, and I just think this filly's a serious horse, and I think she'll have a day somewhere, but maybe not the Oaks. But John, I love your Joan of Arc pick in terms of family. I think it's a fantastic family. And by the way, listeners, 33 is available for Joan of Arc with Sky Bet, and I think that's worth snaffling. I think that's worth a little tickle at 33s. So John's come up with a good one there for the Oaks with Joan of Arc. I really hope you've enjoyed the show. Me and John's put a lot of work and effort into these selections, and obviously we want them to do well. So you do well and enjoy it, and we'll be talking about them, no doubt, throughout the flat season coming. You're obviously discussing our picks and how they're doing, getting some stick when they don't do well, etc.
Inquest.
Yeah. We've got some exciting shows coming up. Obviously,
none more so than the night before the National.
Absolutely. Next week it's the normal Friday tipping show, then with the Sunday sermon next week, and then the week after.
Special guest time.
It's the Grand National meeting, and we've got a special guest. We've got the Ginger Hitler. He's agreed to do it, and he is the biggest. He's not big. I mean, he's small, but he's the biggest bastard you'll ever meet. So you'll enjoy it. We've got the Ginger Hitler to entertain.
To tip cloth cap, basically.
Yeah, an idiot. So yeah, I mean, we're gonna have some fun. So I hope you enjoyed this Sunday sermon special. We've given our heart and soul for you to have a good flat season. So I hope you're enjoying the shows, and me and John will be back next Friday with information and bets for next Saturday's racing. That's all from me and John. Bye for now.